Hi, welcome to Cubs and Culture for 11/20/2018. Tonight I'm gonna do the Cubs thing after work. I promise. I promise. It's just I've been really busy. Anyway, so we're up to the 1964 Best Picture winner, which is My Fair Lady. I have to say I had kind of the opposite reaction to this movie when I was than to Going My Way, because I had a when I first saw it, I was really enamored with this movie. And about 10 years ago, I saw it for the first time, and I thought it was a really, like, basically perfect film. And then rewatching it this time, there's several things that sort of bother me about it. Some of it's technical in the direction and stuff. Well, a lot of it's related to the ending, which shouldn't be surprising if you know anything about this movie. Anyway, so basically, My Fair Lady is the story of a phonetics professor who's a misogynist and/or a misanthrope, where he wagers that he can take a flower girl, i.e., a very, very poor person, and pass her off in high society by teaching her to speak proper English. And then and then I don't want to say fall in love, because it's not quite that, but they end up together somewhat romantically, I guess, at the end of the story, which is sort of the problem. So let me bring up the trailer and clips. See you in a sec. Okay, so let me talk about the aspects of the film I really like before I get into sort of the negative stuff. All the clips are playing. This is the trailer. I like the music is very wonderful. I really like Rex Harrison's performance and the character of Henry Higgins. The movie has sort of a lushness to it. It's a very sort of romantic. It has a lot of striking costume design in it. It's very, very pretty to look at. It's pretty much everything you would want from a musical on sort of the technical level. And then I do like, because if you don't know the history, this movie, the original story was actually written by Bernard Shaw, as Pygmalion, or however you say it. And there's always been tensions of men trying to turn women into their ideal, which the movie is playing around with. And I think the movie is smart enough to deal with Henry Higgins being a jerk, basically. And so because of that, it's relatively clever. It's just the ending. I do like Hepburn in it. It does sort of also bother me that she well, first of all, they couldn't have cast Julie Andrews, because Andrews was the woman who played Eliza initially on stage, except they decided to go a different way, which is fine. Which Julie Andrews sort of got the last laugh, because not being cast in My Fair Lady allowed her to play Mary Poppins, which she won the Oscar for. And actual fact, she thanked the producers of My Fair Lady for not casting her because of that, which is kind of funny. Anyway, as I was saying, it bothers me that Hepburn wasn't given the opportunity to sing, and so all her voices are dubbed. All her songs are dubbed, which is why the character often has stuff on, like the necklace to cover her throat, to hide the fact that she's dubbed over. There's actually a couple of surviving vocals, and I don't think they're that bad. I mean, the part was written musically for Julie Andrews, and Andrews actually had an 8-octave voice at one point. She doesn't anymore because of age, and I think she had throat cancer or something. Okay, so she's lost like an octave. So the part's quite challenging musically, and Hepburn just couldn't do it. But of the vocals that survive, I kind of wish they would have given her a chance. Anyway, so that's the aspects of the film I like. I mean, I like the story. I think the movie does a relatively good job. The problem is, as you'll see in the next section, is this character of Henry Higgins is kind of he's a challenging character. to sort of deal with because of, I mean, for one reason, Rex Harrison himself, the actor, was a jackass. When he was making Dr. Dolittle, he basically drove everyone insane. But anyway, so there's this character, Henry Higgins. He plays the, I guess in some ways he's the protagonist of the story because My Fair Lady, so it's the My is from his perspective. And this, okay, so this song, so what it is they just made a bet that he couldn't pass off Eliza as at the embassy ball, so in high society. So they're talking here about making sure, because Pickering is a colonel that he just met, and they're both interested in phonetics, and he's asking Higgins here if his intentions are honorable towards women. And he's like, yes, because basically he has this song where it's like, yes, because women are fucking terrible. All they do is bitch and complain and try to control you. Excuse me, and everything like that. Which the song is funny and it's cleverly written. And Henry Higgins, so there's always a difference in films between a movie taking position and a character within the movie taking a position. Henry Higgins is not presented as necessarily a sympathetic character at the start of this movie, and one of the functions that Pickering, the guy he makes the bet with, is to temper sort of Higgins' misogyny and being a misanthrope. And so because of that, this song ends up being very hysterical, especially since Rex Harrison, the actor, he doesn't quite, it's like spoken song. He's not quite singing, so there's sort of a detached irony and disdain for even the musical form from the actor. So there's just this great sort of contempt that this character holds towards everything, including that he himself is a musical character, which is fine because the movie, the makers of the movie realizes he's such a jackass, and he is misanthropic, and he is misanthropic, and he is misogynistic, and there's really no way of getting out of the fact that he's misogynistic. Because he's absolutely horrible to Eliza throughout most of the film. He has this song where he sings why women are bitches, which is why it's called A Woman in Your Life. And towards the end he also has, because in the machinations of the plot, Eliza ends up leaving him for a hot second, and so he has a song it's called A Hymn to Him, which is basically him singing about why women couldn't be more like men, which of course comes across as incredibly misogynistic. Now the thing is, I think the movie, because of Pickering and because of Eliza getting a couple songs, most notably Just You Wait, Henry Higgins' Just You Wait, which is a song she sort of fantasized about killing him and mocking him, that the movie absolutely does realize that Henry Higgins himself is a terrible human being, and Rex Harrison plays him so gleefully sadistic at times that it's really hard to not see the movie sort of mocking this sort of viewpoint, which is fine. And in the Shaw play that it was originally based off also has that quality, but at the end of that story, Eliza doesn't end up with him. In My Fair Lady, she does, which doesn't really make all that much sense, both sort of thematically, because all of their work to undermine Henry Higgins as a sympathetic character is for naught, because they give him a happy ending, but also just sort of on a plot level. There's not really an explanation for why Eliza goes back to him. Now, I also have to say this. This movie sort of famously has been interpreted as sort of having, because, it's two men dressing up Audrey Hepburn instead of trying to sleep with her. And Henry Higgins is incredibly misogynistic, and he calls himself a confirmed bachelor multiple times. It famously sort of has a sort of a gay subtext, and in actual fact, rewatching it, I don't think it does all that much, because the argument is basically he's misogynistic because he is gay, so he doesn't like women because people always are trying to um, hook them up and get them to sleep with them, which he doesn't want to do. And I don't think it is. I just think he's a jackass, and he just doesn't like women because he's just misogynistic. Anyway, so this sequence gets into my other problem with the film, which is it plays a little bit too long. And Kukor, who's the director, I hope I'm saying that right, as you just saw, uh, literally freezes the choreography at times. He does this all the time to bookmark on the beginning and ends of songs, especially crowd chorus songs like Opening of Ascot, I guess is the name of the song. Um, where people just sort of freeze and stop moving for a second, which is sort of makes it seem stagey and everything like that, but then also it interrupts the pace of this film. And now this film is almost 3 hours long, and it plays a little bit too long. And part of the reason for that, I think, is this tendency of Kukor to bookmark beginning and ends of songs by freezing the action, which makes the film feel longer because it's no longer sort of moving. And so there's that sort of directorial issue, and I wish he didn't have done that. There's also sort of a textural issue. So like them singing about high society here, it's a pleasant song, it's a funny song, and it's nice to listen to, but it's not unlike the song you just watched, What a Woman Into Your Life, which is about the main character and it's moving the plot along. This is basically one notion. They're setting up, they're at a race, expanded into a couple of minutes, and now that might, and so like I feel like this song, the chorus songs, especially this one, should have been cut down or removed entirely. And now this one's okay when they're singing. It's just in a few seconds here, it's just going to go into just dancing with music, which isn't really all that needed. And when the movie is, I think it's 2 hours and 52 minutes, basically 3 hours, when the movie is that long, it's a little bit like the Great Ziegfeld in this regard, that it's just like the narrative's not weighty enough to sustain its runtime. It's not nearly as bad as in Ziegfeld, because it's My Fair Lady's Meteor, and then it's not as long. But it still has sort of that tendency. And so this is the stuff I was talking about. There's just music here, and it's just unmotivated dance, and I kind of feel like it should have been cut or condensed or everything like that, because it's not really necessary. And even though it's only like 2-3 minutes, when the movie feels long, even saving 2-3 minutes could have really helped. And even if you don't want to cut entirely, you could have cut most of it, because it is so sort of unmotivated. With that being said, I think it's also a really good example of how the movie has a very striking art design. The costumes and the art direction are actually by the same guy, and so that's probably why I have such a unity, because obviously this is the black and white sequence, because the set is black and white, and everyone other than Higgins is in black and white costumes. Now this scene is probably my favorite scene in the film, because there's a issue here between Eliza and Higgins, exactly what sort of relationship they have. And this scene is the closest they have to sort of like making a romantic scene. But the reason why I like it is it gets into the notion, because the movie is about how performative femininity happens, and how men force women to perform a certain way to please them, which is, and again, especially in the Shaw play, because Higgins doesn't get Eliza at the end, it comes across a lot more biting, whereas in this case, because he does get, it feels wrong in a way because of Higgins not getting kicked in the pants at the end. But in any case, this scene, the reason why I like it is it ends up talking about that in a sort of different way, that women end up feeling a certain way because by how they are treated, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's just a different dynamic, because Eliza in this scene will talk about how she will always be a flower girl to Higgins because he's only treated like a flower girl by him. Now he has a sort of a line coming up about he treats everyone equally, which is sort of true. Excuse me. He treats everyone disdainfully. That the exact line is that he always treat me like a flower girl and not like a duchess. And he's like, no, I do treat you like a duchess because I do treat you the same. I treat duchesses like flower girls, which is interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I think the Henry Higgins character is so interesting, because he is misogynistic, and it's really hard to avoid that. But there's an argument to say he's not just a misogynist; he's a misanthrope, which is meaning he hates everyone. The thing is, he doesn't. Well, I mean, one thing about that, he doesn't hate. He's not nearly as contemptuous of Pickering as he is of Eliza. So there's that. But apart from that, there's this notion that hating everyone equally makes it okay, and it doesn't. And I feel like I guess the writers and the creators of those films thought this scene was enough to earn the ending on Higgins's part, that he sort of makes amends in this scene somewhat, and that was enough. And it just doesn't quite work like that. And then you also sort of see a transformation for him a little bit, where he's a little bit less of a jackass towards the end, because he has that song, "Dear, I've gotten accustomed to her face," except the problem with that is it doesn't fully get him to the point, because he still asks for his slippers at the end. So one of the things I think this film could have done that honestly, apart from Higgins not earning it, the writing on Eliza's part, there's nothing like, you got accustomed to your face is enough to understand why Higgins would take her back or would want her back. But there's not an equivalent to that for Eliza, where you don't see her singing, "Oh dear God, I got accustomed to him yelling at me," or anything like that. And so he just feels unmotivated on her part, which is significant, because it sort of undermines the entire point of the story and sort of the dynamic. And related to that, because they're not ultimately fully dealing with Higgins's misogyny, the threats of domestic violence of him. Like, I've had a black eye before, and then eventually in the scene, he says, "I'll wring your neck," when she starts really digging into him. It's too dark for the overall musical sweep of the film, and it just doesn't fully gel the way it's supposed to. So there's that. So I really do like the character of Henry Higgins. Rex Harrison is such a jackass in this film, and the movie does mock him just enough that it doesn't fully treat him as a sympathetic character. It's just the fucking ending sort of ruins the point of the story. Anyway, so that will be Cubs and Culture. See you guys tomorrow.